biological father of Bella Bond met with the girl's mother, who said she was dead, but he didn't call police. That decision could have meant criminal charges. Today, John Keller is discussing the case with Suffolk County DA Dan Conley in Keller at Large.
You're young. Good morning. When we're not talking politics here on Sundays, we'd like to keep tabs on what's going on with criminal justice issues, talking with both law enforcement officials and citizens and what they're saying and thinking about law and order. And toward that end, we always welcome an opportunity to talk with our guest this morning, Suffolk County DA Dan Conley, who's marking his 13th year in that office. He's also president of the Massachusetts DA's Association. Dan, welcome.
John, thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
The alleged biological father of Bella Bond, the little girl found dead on the Winthrop shore last spring, says the girl's mother told him what had happened to the child. And they discussed contacting the authorities, but they didn't. She then texted a friend who called the police, and that's how the arrests were made. Why isn't he being charged as an accessory to the cover-up?
He didn't have knowledge of the acts that constituted the homicide and the accessory after the fact, we believe, until just no more than a day or so before the arrests were made. So, you know, while the investigation is not closed, it remains active and open, but at this point it does not appear that he is criminally culpable. We can perhaps say that, you know, he's morally culpable. He certainly should have picked up the phone and done something earlier, but from a criminal responsibility point of view, there aren't statutes that would, you know, be applicable here, at least in our view at this point.
Well, I was struck by that because in the wake of this terrible case and the arrests finally being made and the little girl being identified, there's been a lot of criticism of neighbors, people who live near the little girl, for not asking questions or alerting officials to her disappearance. And this comes on the heels of repeated appeals by law enforcement in Suffolk County and elsewhere for more community assistance in tracking down criminals. Is that fair criticism of the neighbors, that people are just not speaking up when they should?
In this instance, I don't believe that the folks who lived in the house intentionally didn't contact law enforcement. And it appears that they were uninformed, as hard as that is to believe for us. I mean, I would be stopped on the street during the summer. I was even up in Maine on vacation, and I was wearing sunglasses and dressed very casually, and a gentleman came up to me in a coffee shop and said, "Any word on the little girl from Winthrop?" So it was on the minds of almost everybody in the region. Kind of surprising that people who lived in the same building as Bella didn't make the comparison and analysis, but I don't think they did it intentionally. Well,
I'm sure some people were afraid. In fact, they've said they were sort of afraid of dealing with the suspect, McCarthy, who's been charged with the murder. What about this broader issue of sort of lack of cooperation from the community? Is that a problem?
It's a very big problem, and it's a problem that I've been speaking out against since I became the district attorney in 2002. Police commissioner speaks out against it. The mayor speaks out against it. It's a really difficult culture, not unique to Boston, very common in urban areas where there is a mindset among a large segment of the population that, look, it's not our job, it's not our business to help the police solve cases, to help prosecutors hold defendants accountable, and they just won't do it.
Is it getting worse?
You know, it's not getting better, let me say that. You know, so it's very troubling and disappointing, I believe. But now you have another segment of the population that's downright frightened, and I certainly get that. But we have many mechanisms by which we can protect people. So it's like sort of two classes of people. One, hey, we're not helping you under any circumstances. Another group that are afraid.
Well, we got a break, but what's your message to people watching who may have knowledge of a crime?
Well, you can't rail and complain about public safety issues in your own community if you're not going to step up. So look inward. We have a lot of ways to protect people who are willing to step forward and ask people to simply do the right thing and hold offenders accountable.
All right, we'll take a short break and we'll continue our conversation with the District Attorney of Suffolk County, Dan Conley, in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're talking about crime and the criminal justice system with Suffolk County DA Dan Conley. And Dan, Somerville Mayor Joe Curtatone says charges should be dropped against the Black Lives Matter protesters who blocked I-93 during the rush hour last January. Do you agree or disagree with him?
No, I really like Joe a lot. He's a good man. He's an excellent mayor. But on this issue, no, I don't agree with him. But it's not my call. As you know, that's up in Middlesex County where the crime occurred there. And down below, I believe, in Quincy. I remember the day that happened. As you know, Boston was in utter and total gridlock. But no, on this issue, no, I disagree with Joe. I think the charges ought to be pursued. Marion Ryan, who's the district attorney up there, will make the call.
But what's the principle involved here as far as you're concerned? How does this hurt law enforcement?
Well, no, I'm all in favor of people being able to express themselves, and that's what made this country great. And if they believe that it's important for them to express their views, there's ways to do it that doesn't impact, you know, literally hundreds of thousands of people who had responsibilities that day. We even had an incident down in towards the South Shore where a very sick man was not able to get to the hospital in time, I believe, and it had serious complications for his health. I believe he passed. So, you know, you can demonstrate any place you want, do it peacefully, do it respectfully, and I think that's how things get changed, you know, in this country, but not by chaining yourself to concrete barrels and blocking interstate highways into the city.
Well, another criminal justice issue that made news this past week was up at the SJC, the State Supreme Judicial Court. They ruled that police can't stop a car if they only have reasonable suspicion that the driver has marijuana, that the smell of pot coming from the car is not enough to justify a stop. What do you make of that?
Well, I don't think it was a great decision. You know, certainly not one well-reasoned from my point of view. I think about the fact that these individuals may be driving under the influence of marijuana, and if that's the case, they're a dangerous person on the roadway. So I think police ought to have a little more leeway in that, but the SJC has spoken. I think if someone was drinking a can of beer driving down the road and a police officer saw them, they would have reasonable suspicion to believe that they were committing, you know, an offense and perhaps drunk driving. And so it's important, I think, that especially on the road today, the roads, you see people out there driving aggressively and under the influence of intoxicating liquor and probably under the influence of marijuana. I think that the police ought to have the opportunity. But the SJC has spoken, and we live with it.
Well, we're almost out of time here, but very briefly, we are, I mean, the consensus for marijuana legalization appears to be building here. Fair comment?
Yes, it does, but, you know, the district attorneys are going to work very hard with Governor, Mayor Walsh, leadership in the legislature, our Attorney General Marhira. We're all unified against this. It's not marijuana from 20 or 30 years ago that's on the streets today. It's hybrid. It's very engineered in a way that is very powerful and very addictive for many young people who get then caught up in a whole host of other issues, and it's not a good way to go, and we're opposed to it.
Hey, we barely scratched the surface. Come back again soon, and let's continue this conversation.
I absolutely will. All right, John,
thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Suffolk County DA Dan Conley. That's it for me. Now, back to my colleagues for more WBZ News.